Men are taught the game early on. They know the passwords to hack the emotions of the average woman. But when they encounter a Sigma female, their old script stops working. She confuses them, not because she plays hard to get, but because she analyzes their charm instead of falling for it. Today we are exposing 9 deep psychological secrets that men are terrified you will figure out. Because the day you learn these secrets is the day their power ends and your reign begins. The line between a man's ego and his insecurity is razor thin. They want you to believe they are the leaders, but secretly many are terrified of your independence. As a Sigma female, your greatest weapons are your intuition and your logic. Let's take the mask off. Here are the 9 truths they are desperate to hide from you. 1. The savior complex is a trap. There is a seductive trap laid out for women that disguises itself as romance, hiding behind the mask of chivalry and the age-old narrative of the knight in shining armor. This is the savior complex, and for the Sigma female, it is one of the most dangerous psychological snares a man can set. It begins innocently. He insists on fixing your car. He handles the difficult phone call with the landlord. He takes over your financial planning because math is stressful. On the surface, this looks like love. It looks like a partner trying to ease your burden. But you must look closer. The psychological secret men do not want you to know is that this behavior is often not about your comfort. It is about his relevance. Many men harbor a deep, primal fear of obsolescence. They are terrified that if you are fully capable, fully funded, and fully emotionally regulated, you will have no use for them. To combat this, they subconsciously attempt to manufacture dependency. They need you to be the damsel, so they can play the hero, because without a dragon to slay, they do not know who they are. This dynamic creates a covert contract that eventually turns toxic. When he saves you from a problem, especially a problem you could have solved yourself, he is making a deposit into an emotional bank account that you never opened. He is buying shares in your autonomy. The trap snaps shut when you realize that his help comes with a price tag, your submission. If you challenge him later, he will weaponize his acts of service. After everything I've done for you, I handle everything, and this is how you treat me. He creates a reality where you are the incompetent child, and he is the benevolent, necessary parent. This erodes your confidence over time. The more he does for you, the less you do for yourself, until your skills atrophy. You forget how to change the tire. You forget how to manage the budget. You forget how to fight your own battles. You slowly morph from a lioness into a house cat, domesticated by his kindness. He feels secure because a dependent woman cannot leave, but you have lost the very edge that made you a Sigma. The Sigma female must recognize that a man's desire to help is natural, but his need to save you is pathological. You must distinguish between a partner who wants to make your life easier and a man who wants to make your life impossible without him. The antidote to the savior complex is not to reject all help. That is a trauma response, but to accept help from a position of power, not necessity. You let him carry the heavy box not because you are weak, but because you are delegating. You let him fix the leak not because you are helpless, but because you have better things to do. You must maintain the quiet, terrifying knowledge that if he vanished tomorrow, your world would not collapse. It would simply require a little more administrative work. When a man realizes that you are with him purely out of desire, not out of a desperate need for survival, it forces him to level up. He can no longer rely on your dependency to keep you. He must rely on his character. Do not let him disable you under the guise of protecting you. Keep your skills sharp, keep your bank account separate, and keep your sword within arm's reach. Let him be a partner, let him be a lover, but never, ever let him be your only lifeline. 2. Silence is their greatest fear. If you want to dismantle a man's ego without ever raising your voice, you must master the art of the void. Most men are conditioned to navigate relationships through the feedback loop of action and reaction. If they do something wrong, they expect you to yell, to cry, or to demand an explanation. They are comfortable with your anger because anger is data. Anger tells them that you are invested, that they still have the power to affect your emotional state, and that you are seeking a resolution. They know how to handle a woman who is screaming. They simply wait for the storm to pass or gaslight her until she is exhausted. But the psychological secret they are terrified you will discover is that they have absolutely no defense against your silence. To a manipulative or insecure man, the silence of a Sigma female is not peaceful. It is a terrifying information vacuum that forces him to confront his own conscience. When you withhold your reaction, you deny him the map he needs to navigate the conflict. He doesn't know if you are angry, if you are indifferent, or if you are planning your exit. In that absence of information, his mind begins to spiral, and he projects his deepest insecurities into the quiet space you have created. This dynamic shifts the power instantly because humans are hardwired to abhor uncertainty. When you go silent, you become a mirror. He looks at you and sees nothing but his own reflection, and for a man with a guilty conscience or a fragile ego, that reflection is unbearable. You will notice a specific pattern of behavior when you deploy the void. First, he will try to provoke you. He will say increasingly inflammatory things just to get a rise out of you, because even a negative reaction is better than no reaction. He is fishing for a signal that he still exists in your world. If you remain unmoved, if you continue to look at him with that detached, analytical Sigma gaze, he will move to the next phase, the unprompted confession. This is the most fascinating side effect of weaponized silence. In an attempt to fill the awkward gap, he will start talking. He will over-explain. He will offer excuses for things you didn't even accuse him of. He will effectively snitch on himself because the pressure of the silence is heavier than the pressure of the truth. He is negotiating with himself, bidding against his own anxiety, all while you haven't uttered a single word. The Sigma female must understand that this silence is not a passive, aggressive game. It is a boundary. It is a refusal to engage in low vibrational chaos. Men fear this because it signals that you are not desperate to be understood by them. It signals that you are assessing them, judging their value, and calculating whether they are worth your energy. It is the ultimate display of high status. When you scream, you are asking to be heard. When you are silent, you are demonstrating that you do not need to be heard to be right. He knows deep down that the opposite of love is not hate. It is indifference. Your anger feeds his ego, but your silence starves it. He realizes that a woman who can control her tongue is a woman who can control her destiny, and that makes you dangerous. He cannot manipulate what he cannot read. By keeping your cards face down, you force him to play blind, and in the game of psychological warfare, the blind player always loses. He wants you to make noise so he knows where he stands. Keep him in the dark. Let him wonder. Let him panic. And watch as the man who thought he was the leader crumbles simply because you refused to follow his script. 3. The comparison game is intentional. Triangulation. There is a subtle, corrosive tactic that men employ when they feel their grip on you slipping, or when their own self-esteem needs a desperate infusion of external validation. This is the comparison game, known in dark psychology as triangulation. It happens when he casually mentions a female co-worker who is obsessed with him, or brings up an ex-girlfriend's cooking, or comments on the attractiveness of a woman walking by. To the untrained eye, these seem like innocent, off-the-cuff remarks, or perhaps insensitive blunders. But the psychological secret he does not want you to know is that these are calculated precision strikes designed to manufacture anxiety. He is intentionally introducing a phantom third party into the relationship to destabilize your confidence. By suggesting that he has other options or that other women desire him, he is attempting to artificially inflate his market value while simultaneously lowering yours. He wants you to feel that he is a scarce resource that must be fought for, triggering your competitive instinct so that you work harder to win his attention. He is turning the relationship into a contest where he is the trophy and you are merely a contestant. This behavior stems from a profound internal emptiness. A high-value man does not need to dangle other women in front of his partner to feel desirable. His confidence is self-sourced. The man who triangulates is telling you, without saying a word, that he does not believe he is enough on his own merits. He needs to borrow value from the ghosts of other women to make himself seem significant. He is terrified that if you look at him clearly, without the haze of jealousy clouding your vision, you will realize he is mediocre. So he creates a fog of competition. He wants you to react with insecurity. He wants you to ask, "Who is she?" or "Why are you talking about her?" or to start dressing better or trying harder to please him. When you react with jealousy, you are giving him narcissistic supply. You are validating his delusion that he is the prize. You are effectively entering a pick-me dance, degrading yourself to compete with a woman who often doesn't even exist or has zero interest in him. The Sigma female destroys this dynamic by refusing to enter the arena. She understands that competition is for commodities, not for queens. When a man attempts to triangulate her, she does not get angry. She gets bored. She realizes that a man who has to make her jealous to keep her interested is a man who lacks the character to keep her satisfied. Her response to the comparison game is a ruthless withdrawal of attention. She looks at him with a mix of pity and amusement and says, either with her words or her energy, "I do not compete. If you prefer her, go to her." This reaction terrifies him. It completely backfires. He wanted to make you anxious. Instead, he made himself disposable. He realizes that by trying to make you an option, he has disqualified himself from being your priority. The psychological secret here is that he is bluffing. He doesn't actually want the other woman. He wants you to want him obsessively. When you show him that you are willing to walk away the moment he disrespects your position, you shatter his frame. You prove that you operate from a mindset of abundance, where you know your worth is absolute and not relative to anyone else. He learns the hard way that trying to make a Sigma woman jealous doesn't make her fight for you. It makes her replace you. Pause for a second. This is the oldest trick in the book. He mentions her name to see if you flinch. I want to know, have you ever felt a man trying to manufacture jealousy just to boost his own ego? If you are done competing for a spot that you already own, type "no games" in the comments below. Let him play by himself. Now, once you stop reacting to his jealousy traps, you will start to notice the fake mask he wears to hide his fear. 4. They bluff confidence to hide inadequacy, the false alpha. There is a pervasive illusion in the dating market that men work tirelessly to maintain, a fragile construct built on the assumption that volume equals value and dominance equals competence. This is the bluff of the false alpha, and it is one of the most guarded secrets of the male psyche. Many men who present themselves as dominant, assertive, or alpha are essentially engaging in a sophisticated form of theatrical performance designed to hide a deep-seated feeling of inadequacy. They have learned that if they talk loud enough, walk with enough swagger, and interrupt people frequently enough, they can trick the world into believing they are powerful. They are terrified that you will discover the truth. They are deeply unsure of themselves. They often have no idea what they are doing, and they are riddled with imposter syndrome. They use arrogance as a prophylactic against being discovered. They know that most women are socialized to equate assertiveness with leadership, so they hack this heuristic by performing the symptoms of leadership without possessing the substance of it. They mansplain, they brag about future plans that have no foundation in reality, and they aggressively defend their ego against even the slightest critique because their self-worth is as thin as an eggshell. The Sigma female is the natural predator of the false alpha because she possesses a bullshit detector that cannot be jammed by bravado. While other women might be intimidated by his bluster or charmed by his cockiness, the Sigma woman observes him with the detached curiosity of a biologist studying a pufferfish. She notices the micro-expressions of fear when he is challenged. She notices that his stories don't add up. She notices that he needs a constant stream of validation to keep his balloon inflated. The psychological secret he fears you knowing is that his confidence is actually a demand for submission. He isn't acting strong because he is strong. He is acting strong so you won't ask him any hard questions. When a Sigma woman refuses to be intimidated, when she looks at his aggressive posturing and simply raises an eyebrow or asks a calm, logical question that pierces through his rhetoric, he experiences a form of narcissistic injury. He realizes that his costume isn't working. This terrifies him because he has no plan B. He has spent his entire life learning how to fake strength, but he has spent zero time developing real character. This dynamic reveals that true power is quiet. A man who is actually secure in his status, his finances, and his intellect does not need to broadcast it. He assumes it is self-evident. The man who is constantly telling you how high value he is trying to convince himself, not you. The Sigma female dismantles this bluff by withholding the awe he expects. She doesn't clap for the performance. She waits for the results. When he realizes that you are judging him based on his actions rather than his volume, the dynamic shifts. He feels naked. He feels exposed. He knows that he cannot dazzle you with a light show, so he is forced to either flee to a woman who is easier to fool or, in rare cases, drop the act and interact with you as a genuine human being. But usually, he runs. He runs because the false alpha cannot exist in the presence of a woman who sees the frightened boy hiding behind the curtain. He doesn't want you to know that his dominance is just fear wearing a tuxedo, and once you see the zipper on the back of the suit, he can never unsee it himself. 5. The cool girl myth is a scam, the low-maintenance trap. There is a pervasive cultural script that men have successfully sold to women for decades, a fantasy archetype known as the cool girl. She is the woman who is effortlessly chill, who never nags, who eats junk food but stays thin, who loves sports, and most importantly, who never ever gets upset when her man disappoints her. She is low maintenance. She goes with the flow. She says, "It's okay," when he cancels plans last minute. Men praise this woman publicly. They tell you, "I hate drama," or "My ex was crazy, I just want someone chill." But the psychological secret they do not want you to know is that the cool girl is a scam designed to strip you of your boundaries. It is a trap. When a man tells you he wants a chill girl, what he is actually saying is that he wants a woman who will require zero emotional labor from him. He wants the benefits of a relationship, the intimacy, the companionship, the domestic support, without the cost of accountability. He wants a partner who acts like a casual friend but performs the duties of a committed wife. The cool girl is not a personality type. She's a woman who has been gaslit into believing that having needs makes her a burden. This dynamic is insidious because it frames your legitimate standards as drama or nagging. By labeling any expression of dissatisfaction as high maintenance, he forces you to suppress your intuition and silence your voice just to keep the title of being the good one. He knows that if you are busy trying to prove how cool and easygoing you are, you won't notice that you are being neglected. He exploits your fear of being perceived as difficult. The secret is that men know the cool girl is acting. They know that no human being is naturally okay with being treated like an option. They know you are swallowing your anger, and they are banking on the fact that your desire to be chosen is stronger than your desire to be respected. They rely on your compliance to function. The moment the cool girl asks for a commitment, or asks where the relationship is going, or expresses hurt feelings, the man often recoils and accuses her of changing. He punishes her for breaking character, reinforcing the idea that she is only lovable as long as she is silent. The Sigma female destroys this myth by rejecting the premise entirely. She understands that low maintenance is just a polite synonym for low value. She realizes that in the real world, things of value, high-performance cars, rare jewels, thriving empires, are all high maintenance. They require care, protection, and consistent investment. The Sigma woman is not afraid to be difficult. She is not afraid to be complicated. She knows that being chill when you are actually being disrespected is not a virtue. It is a form of self-abandonment. She looks at the man asking her to be the cool girl and realizes he is simply admitting that he is too lazy, too immature, or too emotionally bankrupt to afford the price of admission to her life. She refuses to shrink herself to fit into the small space he has carved out for her. The psychological power move here is accepting that if having standards makes you crazy, then you should own that label with pride. The secret is that men might use the cool girl, but they rarely respect her. They respect the woman who has boundaries made of steel, the woman who says, "This is what I require. If you cannot provide it, step aside." That is not being difficult. That is being the CEO of your own existence. Let's stop here. The cool girl trap is how they keep you compliant. They want you silent, smiling, and suffering. If you are ready to kill the people-pleaser inside you and start setting real standards, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. We don't do cool here. We do real. And trust me, you need to hear this next point. Because once you stop being the cool girl, he starts getting terrified of your mind. 6. Your intellect turns them off. The ego threat. There is a profound hypocrisy in the dating market that every intelligent woman eventually encounters, the gap between what men say they want and what they can actually handle. They will tell you with great enthusiasm that they are sapiosexuals, that they love a woman with a sharp mind, and that they want a partner who can challenge them. But the psychological secret they are desperate to hide is that for the vast majority of men, your intellect is not a turn-on, it is a threat. They love the idea of a smart woman because it validates their status to be seen with one, but they hate the reality of a smart woman because she is impossible to manipulate. The average man relies on emotional turbulence to maintain control in a relationship. He relies on your confusion, your doubt, and your willingness to prioritize feelings over facts. When you operate from a place of high intellect, when you are a Sigma female who analyzes behavior, cross-references statements, and demands logical consistency, you effectively disarm him. You strip him of the tools he uses to maintain his illusion of superiority. He realizes that he cannot charm his way out of a lie because you are listening to the syntax of his sentence rather than the tone of his voice. He realizes he cannot gaslight you because you have a steel trap memory and a relentless commitment to objective reality. This dynamic triggers a deep, primal insecurity known as the ego threat. When a man feels outmatched intellectually by his partner, he does not feel proud, he feels castrated. Instead of rising to meet your level, he will often attempt to drag you down to his. This manifests in the specific gendered insults he throws at you during conflicts. He will label you argumentative, difficult, cold, or too masculine. He will tell you that you think too much, or that you are ruining the vibe with your questions. You must understand that these are not valid critiques of your personality. They are panic responses from a man who is realizing he is losing the upper hand. He is trying to shame you into silence. He is trying to convince you that your intelligence is a defect that makes you unlovable, hoping that you will dumb yourself down to make him feel comfortable. He wants you to trade your sharp logic for soft compliance so that he can feel like the leader without actually having the competence to lead. The Sigma female must ruthlessly reject this frame. She understands that a man who is intimidated by her mind is a man who is terrified of the truth. You must realize that his attraction to you has a ceiling. He is attracted to you only as long as your intelligence serves him, but the moment it challenges him, he recoils. The secret is that he wants an audience, not a co-pilot. He wants a woman who is smart enough to understand his jokes and admire his career, but not smart enough to catch his inconsistencies or question his decisions. When you refuse to play the role of the adoring, slightly less intelligent sidekick, you force him to confront his own mediocrity. Do not apologize for your acuity. Do not soften your vocabulary. Do not pretend to be confused when you are actually crystal clear. The right man, the high-value man, will not be repelled by your intellect. He will be relieved by it. He will see your logic as an asset to the team, not a threat to his ego. But for the insecure man, your mind is a mirror that shows him exactly how small he is, and that is a reflection he will do anything to smash. 7. He knows he is replaceable. The solitude threat. The ultimate leverage that the average man holds over a woman is her fear of being alone. For centuries, society has conditioned women to view solitude as a failure, a state of social exile that must be avoided at any cost. Men rely on this conditioning. They bank on the fact that you will tolerate their mediocrity, their disrespect, and their inconsistency simply because the prospect of the void, of sleeping in an empty bed, of eating alone, of facing the world without a male protector, is too terrifying for you to bear. But the dark psychological secret that keeps men awake at night when they are dating a Sigma female is the terrifying realization that you are not afraid. He looks at you and sees a woman who has turned solitude into a sanctuary. He sees a woman who travels alone, who builds alone, and who sits in silence without fidgeting for a distraction. This terrifies him because it strips him of his primary bargaining chip. He knows, with a sinking feeling in his gut, that he is not your oxygen, he is merely an option. This knowledge creates a profound existential anxiety within him. In a typical dynamic, the man feels secure because he believes he is the prize, the necessary component for your happiness and social status. But with a Sigma woman, the dynamic is inverted. He realizes that your life was full, rich, and peaceful before he arrived, and it will remain full, rich, and peaceful if he leaves. He is not the foundation of your building. He is a decoration on the wall, nice to have, aesthetically pleasing, but ultimately removable without compromising the structural integrity of the house. He knows he is replaceable, not because you are promiscuous or disloyal, but because you are self-sourced. You generate your own validation, your own finance, and your own dopamine. This means he cannot control you by withdrawing affection or attention because you have your own supply. He cannot starve a woman who knows how to grow her own food. This secret drives him to a state of hypervigilance. You will notice that he is constantly testing your attachment level. He might pull away to see if you chase him or provoke a fight to see if you are afraid of losing him. When you fail to panic, when you simply look at him and say, "If you want to leave, the door is unlocked," it shatters his ego. He realizes that he has to earn his spot in your life every single day. He cannot rest on the laurels of simply being a man. He has to bring value, he has to bring peace, and he has to bring consistency, because he knows that the moment the cost of his presence outweighs the benefit, you will ruthlessly cut him loose. He doesn't want you to know that he feels this precariousness. He wants you to believe that you are the lucky one, but deep down, he knows the brutal truth. A woman who is happy alone is the most dangerous creature on earth because she cannot be negotiated with, she cannot be threatened, and she cannot be held hostage by a fear she does not feel. He knows that you are perfectly capable of replacing him with something far better than another man, your own peace. Let that sink in. He knows you don't need him to survive, and that is his biggest nightmare. If you are a woman who finds peace in her own company, if you are truly not afraid to walk away, smash the like button right now. Let's show the algorithm how many of us are self-sourced. Now, let's talk about the strange phenomenon where a grown man suddenly forgets how to do basic chores. 8. Weaponized incompetence, the lazy genius. There is a baffling phenomenon that occurs in relationships where a man, who is perfectly capable of holding down a complex job, rebuilding a car engine, or mastering the intricate strategies of a video game, suddenly becomes utterly incapable of operating a washing machine. He cannot find the ketchup in the refrigerator, even though it is right in front of his face. He buys the wrong groceries every single time. He folds the towels in a way that makes them impossible to stack. You look at this and you think, poor guy, he just doesn't know how. You sigh, you step in and you say, "Move over, I'll do it." This is exactly what he wanted. This is not clumsiness. It is a calculated psychological tactic known as weaponized incompetence. The secret men do not want you to know is that they are not stupid. They are lazy, and they are brilliant at protecting their laziness. They have learned that if they perform a task poorly enough, often enough, you will eventually stop asking them to do it. They are effectively training you, like a Pavlovian dog, to assume the burden of all domestic and emotional labor simply to avoid the frustration of watching them fail. They are outsourcing their adulthood to you. This dynamic is incredibly dangerous for the Sigma female because it attacks your desire for efficiency. You see a problem, and your instinct is to fix it. You see a job being botched, and your instinct is to take over to ensure quality control. He exploits this competence. He knows that you cannot stand to see things done halfway, so he does them halfway on purpose. By forcing you into the role of the manager or the mother, he kills the romantic polarity in the relationship. It is impossible to desire a man whom you have to remind to brush his teeth or pick up his socks. He essentially regresses into a childlike state because it is comfortable. He gets a partner who cooks, cleans, and manages his life, and all he has to do is act a little bit confused. He doesn't want you to know that this is a choice. He wants you to believe that women are just naturally better at multitasking or planning, which is a biological lie used to justify social exploitation. 9. The love-bombing phase is strategic, the dopamine hook. The most dangerous weapon in a manipulative man's arsenal is not his anger, his silence, or his criticism. It is his affection. Specifically, the weaponized high-velocity affection known as love bombing. This is the final and most devastating psychological secret. The fairy tale beginning of the relationship was not serendipity, and it was not fate. It was a calculated military operation designed to overwhelm your nervous system and bypass your logical defenses. In the beginning, he mirrors you perfectly. He likes everything you like. He texts you good morning and good night. He talks about marriage, children, and a future together within weeks of meeting you. He puts you on a pedestal so high that you get dizzy. He makes you feel seen, adored, and understood in a way you never have before. You think, finally, a man who knows how to love. But the secret he is desperate to hide is that he does not love you. He is studying you. He is data mining your hopes, your insecurities, and your dreams, so he can construct a mask that looks exactly like your soulmate. He is not giving you love. He is giving you a dopamine hit. He is acting like a drug dealer, giving you the first few doses for free to ensure you become addicted to his validation. The purpose of love bombing is to create a dopamine hook. By flooding your brain with feel-good chemicals, he creates a biochemical bond that is harder to break than a steel chain. He needs to do this quickly because he knows that he cannot sustain the mask for long. He is racing against the clock. He needs to lock you down, get you to move in, get you pregnant, or get you socially entangled before his true self slips out. Once he feels that he has secured your addiction, the devaluation phase begins. The texts stop coming. The compliments turn into critiques. The warmth turns into ice. You are left confused, thinking, what did I do wrong? How do I get the old him back? You start chasing him, trying to earn back the affection he used to give for free. This is the trap. You are not chasing a person, you are chasing a ghost. The old him never existed. That version of him was a marketing campaign, a trailer for a movie that was never made. He doesn't want you to know that the sudden coldness isn't a reaction to your behavior. It was the plan all along. He overfed you so that he could starve you, knowing that a starving person is easier to control. The final commandment of the Sigma female is an absolute refusal to lower your standards to accommodate a fragile ego. For too long, women have been taught to shrink, to soften their voices, and to dim their light so that a man does not feel overshadowed. You have been told that your strength is intimidating, that your logic is cold, and that your independence is a threat. Today, you must reject that narrative with the force of a thunderclap. Do not apologize for your intelligence. Do not hide your success. Do not feign incompetence to make a man feel necessary. If your reality shatters his ego, then his ego was made of glass, and you are not the one who broke it. Reality did. You are not a rehabilitation center for broken men. You are an empire. The right man, the king who is worthy of your time, will not ask you to shrink. He will admire your stature. He will not be threatened by your sovereignty. He will be inspired by it. Until he arrives, you stand alone, not in loneliness, but in power. The game of manipulation is over because you have decided to stop playing. You have taken the controller out of their hands. The screen has gone black for them, but for you, the real life, the life of truth, freedom, and absolute self-ownership is just beginning. The control belongs to you. Stay sharp, stay Sigma. And if you are ready to rule your own reality, hit that subscribe button. The Empire is waiting.